You know what I saw today on TikTok? It was making fun of the way that people say water from New Jersey.
What do the people say? Water.
Just
I
water.
knew a kid. He, I don't know if I've talked about it before, but instead of water, he'd always go wooder. Like not even like a mumbled water, just straight up wooder, like Wooder.
But
And
like,
we
how am I supposed to say it? Am I supposed to say it water?
water.
Water.
Yeah. All right.
Is it like I went on a
What?
tangent.
This is the grand return, huh?
The grand return. It's been 6 months.
I think our six fans, three of which I think are accounts that I made,
One of them is
are
me.
so our I think my dad and one other person. Oh no, we have 14 subscribers on YouTube.
Whoa!
So that's pretty sick.
That's pretty epic sauce.
Uh, mm, well, we're starting out episode 10. The past 9 episodes was our pilot season that we sent to Netflix. Luckily they greenlit it, so we are gonna be going on. We're looking at 33 seasons right now with a couple of movies and book tie-ins.
But, we did
The
sign NDAs, so we can't disclose everything just yet. It's still in the works.
the collectible trading card game is coming soon.
Coming soon.
You should make that. You should make a trading card game. Make like 30 cards.
Oh yeah, hi guys, welcome back to Melodies and Masterpieces. This is episode 10. We're making our grand return, and if you haven't noticed, I made new art.
See, you decided to take it seriously. I'm just goofing around over here. Yeah,
Well, we
Laurel
had to
did
welcome back our lovely, listeners.
we yeah, Laurel drew some new stuff. I like it a lot.
I revamped our
And
entire vibe, guys.
if you're a special YouTube watcher, you get the or I think maybe on Spotify it'll also pop up. You get the special episode thumbnails that pop up. And yeah, that I thought was a good idea so that people can associate little pictures with each new episode. But enough about business jargon. Let's get into the news. Um, what did you do today?
Uh, that is terrible. That's a terrible opener. What did I went on a hike today, which was really fun. Um, And then I went to a thrift store, and then I went out to lunch with family, and then I came home and I was sweaty and tired because we are currently in a heat wave. And I laid in bed for a little bit, and then I went to band rehearsal tonight. So I've had a pretty jam-packed day, if you would.
I would not, but went
Excuse you.
I had a hike as well. There's a park near me that I hadn't gone to since like the first day I moved in this neighborhood. So I went there and there's like, oh, there's this whole trail. I was alone, so I was kind of afraid to like walk the whole thing by myself. It's just a big loop. So I was like, I'll walk half of it and then walk it back. It was a mile each way. So I walked 2 miles and then I came home. I made a chicken salad and then
Ooh.
I fell asleep after that and then I just finished working out and now I'm playing Subway Surfers. I've been on a big Subway Surfer kick. It's the only way I can pay attention to things, honestly.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it's been a big part of my daily routine to play at least 2 hours of Subway Surfer. I do play a lot each day though. I'm right now it's the June season. I don't really know what the particular thing is. Laurel just froze up on my screen. So, oh boy, are you there?
I am here.
All right, don't do that again.
Sorry.
Um. Anyway, what was I talking about?
Subway surfers.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of Subway Surfers lately. I'm kind of a subway maniac, if you will. When I went to work and I got there a little early, and I just spent the whole time playing some surf. You know what I mean? That's what we call it back home.
No, I don't really play Subway Surfers.
I know you play. What mobile game do you play?
I don't really play any mobile games anymore.
Because every time I steal your phone, there's no games on there.
Well, I mean, there's like my JRPGs that I play, which is like Tears of Themis and Twisted Wonderland.
You don't play Twisted Wonderland that much anymore.
I visit it at least a couple times a week. I don't do it as much as I used to, which was about like 20 times a day I would go on that app and just waste time.
So I think our last episode was about New Year's resolutions, because
Yes.
it was to welcome in the new year.
Yes, it
And
was. I was just listening to it to recap so I could have some knowledge.
I don't. I hate this show. But there
Uh,
was, I think one of mine was to read more, and that's exactly what I actually have been doing. Believe it or not, I actually did what I was gonna say. I didn't read a lot of the books I said I was going to, all the music ones, because like once you read one music book, especially if you're a music major, you get really bored. I read Musicophilia by oh crud, what's his name? Oliver Sacks. That was pretty informative. And then what really got me into reading was reading Dune because I really wanted to watch the movie, but everybody was like, "Oh, don't watch the movie. You got to read the book first to really appreciate it." And I was like, "Okay." So when we went to New York to go see, was that The Outsiders that day? No,
no, that was Sweeney Todd.
that was Sweeney Todd. Yeah, we went to go see Sweeney Todd on Broadway, and on the way there, we stopped at McNally and Jackson by the Rockefeller Center, and uh, they had Dune, and I was like, "Sweet, let me get that." Super long book, really confusing at first, but I fell in love with it. It's my number one favorite book right now, and I'm on the third book right now, Children of Dune. I read a bunch of stuff in between the second book and the third one, and yeah, reading's like it's a cool hobby of mine. And no, it's not because of book talk. Believe it or not, I only recently discovered book talk like a month and a half ago
Book
because
talk is scary.
at first I was like, man, I'm sure there's like a little small corner of book talk that I can like get this micro obsession of mine validated. And I found some people that I really like that they just kind of talk about like, oh, my reads this month. And yeah, a lot of them are like those condescending smart people that are like, I read 30 books this month. But some of them are pretty chill. And then there's the spice book people, which I just stay away from them.
Spicy book talk.
It's bad. I don't like that.
Speaking of reading, I've been reading more as well. My New Year's resolution from last episode wasn't anything involving reading. It was honestly skincare, which I have been taking care of. I've gotten nice products. I've been taking care of my skin. I've been like breaking out and flaking a lot less, which is really, really great. But I've started reading too, and I'm really hooked on the Scythe trilogy right now. I'm on the second book, which is called Thunderhead, and then I have The Toll to read, and then there is another book called Gleanings that isn't part of the trilogy but is in the same universe. And then Omar got me an entire series, the Crown of the Court of Roses and Thorns or something like that, which I'm really excited to read that because I've heard very good things about it.
Yeah, I got it for her birthday because she said she wanted it. So, um, yeah, I've heard. I mean, for people, I've heard that it's more of a girly book. So, you know, you know me, I can't stand anything girly. I've
You actually can't stand women.
no, I vomit at the sight of anything effeminate at all.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, Dune has. I've accumulated a pretty good shelf right now of books actually, and there's some books that I got that out of all the books I've currently read, the worst one that I've read was The Priory of the Orange Tree. And that book was pretty popular in Book Talk, and Book Talk's the reason why I got it, because everybody was like, "Oh, you have to read this book." And I've never read fantasy before, and people were like, "Oh, it's the best fantasy book I ever read. You have to read it. it's amazing. The only problem is it's really long, which it is. It's about 800 pages, and there's a lot of words. So I was like, all right, let me read it. It took me about 2.5 weeks of reading like every day to get through it, and it was just so disappointing. Maybe I'm just not meant to like fantasy books, but I really tried. It's just the author, like she knows how to write. Like there's many times where I was really entertained, but there's just times where things just sort of happened and had no meaning. Characters would pop up out of nowhere, and I was like, okay, what are they gonna do? And then they'll either just die, or they'll just do one thing to advance the plot and then never show up again. And then the big final climactic moment in the book that everybody's constantly like, oh, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen. It just kind of flops on its face in like one paragraph. So that book was like it was like a 6.8 out of 10 for me, but I did finish it because I don't like DNFing books.
I occasionally DNF a book, but then I always come back to it at least once or twice. So technically, like, they're not DNF because I do eventually finish them. Sometimes I get like really bored with the plot midway through because a lot of the books I read are like, fantasy, dystopian, sci-fi stuff, and usually around the middle is they have to do a lot of world building from what I've learned because they introduce the characters, they introduce the main themes and the plot points and plot devices and everything, and then it has a little bit of a world building middle section at some point where it has to develop more of the issues going on within the world. And that's when I usually lose interest, but I've been really trying to like push through that because I tend to like give up fast. It's bad.
World's gonna get really bad.
But no, the Scythe trilogy has gotten me like hooked simply because I love dystopian and I'm really looking
Yeah.
forward to reading Tender is the Flesh because that's another dystopian one about cannibalism.
So your connection is really like fighting right now,
No, I know, it's because I'm the furthest away from the Wi-Fi in the entire house.
but it's never been like this before.
No, it's gotten
I
worse.
think
I
I
can
think you
definitely attest
actively
to
are
that
doing.
because
I also got to make a
I think you
new
will.
intro song. I hope it sounds good.
I'm sure it will. You are the melodies part of this entire podcast. You should be able to make it pretty okay.
I don't know. I mean, sometimes I'm like, yeah, I'm the music guy, but then I'm like, who am I? You know, like who? What is this? What are we?
Are you a man or a muppet?
A man or a what?
A muppet.
The Muppets are they're fake. They're fabric. I'm made of flesh. I took.
Oh, we can talk about our experience seeing Outsiders on Broadway before it became so popular that they can't do Broadway lotteries anymore.
Oh my gosh, I am so glad that we got lucky on that because you like people can't see it now. Like you have to be
They
rich.
so basically what happened was that me and Omar, I won tickets to see Outsiders on Broadway. For people that don't know, Outsiders is a book. People adapted it to a movie, and now it's adapted to a musical. Um, I'm a huge musical person. I've seen a lot of shows just because I've won a lot of lotteries.
We
But I
saw
won
The
tickets
Outsiders.
to, yeah, I won tickets to The Outsiders, so I took Omar with me. Um, and this was prior to their Tony performance and their Tony award winning of Best Musical. Um, and I won with the lottery. But I've seen recently, because I still enter for a bunch of shows, that they've taken down the Outsiders lottery because it has grown so insanely popular and they're able to make enough money off of people willing to pay full price for these tickets instead of, you know, doing lottery and paying $30 per ticket. I'm so glad we got to see it before Tony's swept.
Let me look up the cast list right now so I can talk about
It's still
these.
the same cast that we saw.
The Outsiders musical. I know it's the same cast. I just want to have their names here. Um,
There's Brody, I
so
think that's Brody Grant.
Brody Grant plays Pony Boy. Um, so this is the second for realsies Broadway musical I've ever seen, and luckily our tickets were literally front row, so we got super lucky here. And I I originally read The Outsider's book back in eighth grade, and actually at the thrift store recently I just got another copy, and I really want to reread it after watching this musical. And the day we saw the show was the same day that the cast album came out because they announced it on stage. Which I think would have been what would have been really cool is if they sold the album in the store, but they didn't do that. Um, so yeah, this cast was really like I don't think there was one person I didn't like, but I've been listening to the cast album nonstop every day. Some of my favorite songs are, I mean, the opening song Tulsa '67 is awesome. Um, Throwing in the Towel I think is a really powerful song. Stay Gold, obviously the staple song of the show. Uh, there was one other. Soda's Letter is another one that I listen to frequently. Brody Grant, I liked a lot. I think that he was a perfect pick. He looks like Pony Boy. He got the body language down perfectly. Um, what was his name? What was his name? What was his name? The other two brothers, Jason Schmidt as Soda Pop and Brent Comer as Daryl. I just think those three.
I love Brent Comer. He's such a funny person. They did an Instagram takeover on the day of the Tonys, and he was the one hosting it. They're just so the whole cast is just you can tell that they like each other, and that's like so important in creating like the environment that The Outsiders is supposed to emulate is like these two clans of people that are so closely intertwined, like the Greasers and the Socias.
I I could tell you like I'm not a big dance person. Like if you put two uh like routines or whatever in front of me, I don't even know how to classify them. I couldn't tell you which one is better or which one is worse for what reasons. But like the dancing in this, the choreography, it just seemed so raw. And apparently that one female greaser that we saw on stage, apparently she is also choreographing the show.
Hmm.
I found that out watching an interview. See if I can find her name here. There was one female greaser. Is this her? Danya Tamor? I think that's her.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, they all did awesome, and of course the staple Rumble scene. Um, you really watching it at the Tonys just did not. It was on TV, right? They did the Rumble scene.
Yeah, they did like a quick little snippet of the Rumble scene and they got it to rain on stage. Like spoiler, it rains on stage during the Rumble, which is like the big appeal of that moment.
Yeah, you. It does not do it justice watching it on TV. Like you really have to be there to experience. Because like we walked out of there with gravel all over us. Because the floor of the stage is just like turf. And we walked out of there with turf all over us, with water and fake blood all over us. Granted, we were in the front row, but like, you really, when you watch it, you really see just how visceral of a fight they choreograph, and like they did a great job. It doesn't look like West Side Story ballerina fighting. Like it looks like they're beating up each other on stage.
What's your opinion on the other Broadway musical I brought you to?
Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, because you've seen two Broadway shows now. I brought you to both of them. What's your opinion on Sweeney Todd? Because a completely different vibe. Because Sweeney Todd is more of like a classic musical, and
Yeah,
Outsiders is brand new.
Outsiders very much. Well, I will say just one more thing on Outsiders. I love the music direction. I've never heard of the band that made. I can't even remember their name, but uh, it was just these two guys who they have a band of like folk rock music, and it is so perfect. Like I don't know if there's one song in the musical I don't like.
They're like straight from Texas too, so it had that like I don't know, that real folk rock music
Yeah,
vibe.
like it immediately from the beginning you feel the vibe of like what this show is about and the reality. The music is just so raw. Like you can't learn how to sing like that just from a teacher. Like you have to experience that music in a different way. Teaching that type of music, the best way to learn that music is just you got to listen to a lot of the greats, and then you just have to develop your own style. Um,
Mm.
moving to Sweeney Todd, um, yeah, that's definitely more of like you said, like a classical type of musical theater. I mean, everybody at least knows the name Sweeney Todd, and maybe most people even know his story. I only became a fan of Sondheim after I finished community college because we did the show Sondheim on Sondheim, which is it's sort of like a musical biopic. Like it's a stage show, but talking about Sondheim's life, and the songs are, of course, from different shows he did, songs that never got released. Uh, Very cool. If you can find a recording of it online, I highly recommend it. If you just listen to the album, you get the whole scope of it. But we did it, and I was like, wow, this guy Sondheim is a pretty big deal. So I, listened to all of his stuff. How I first experienced Sweeney Todd was in our library at university. They just have different Sondheim like script books, and what I would do is I'd read the script, and I would have the soundtrack on my phone, and whenever a song would pop up, I'd listen to it as I read it. Um, and actually getting to see it on stage was pretty awesome. We saw, I don't know, did we see an understudy?
It wasn't an understudy.
Because they had
When
cast
Sweeney
it.
Todd first came out, it was who was the guy
It was
playing it?
Josh Groban.
Josh Groban. Josh Groban had left at that point, so they had the guy that would be the understudy take his role basically. But the guy that we saw, I thought was amazing.
No, the guy we saw was amazing, but there was a guy who came right after Josh Groban who was like a big name, but I can't remember. Because everybody was asking me, like, oh, did you see this guy? I was like, no, we saw this other guy. But he was still amazing. And it was him and his brother were together in the show. I wanna say his name, give him credit.
I have that in my playbill on me. Hold on.
Oh, look at you, Miss Theater Kid, have your playbills on hand.
Listen, I like to keep the ones that are important to me close by.
By the way, not to flex, but we got all of the
Sweeney
Outsiders
Todd.
cast to sign our playbills, so bidding will start at
Yeah.
$2,000.
I think he was Nicholas Christopher.
Nicholas Christopher.
We went during the week, right?
We went. Hold on, I can look it up right here. They did a little interview. Broadway brothers. Let's see. Here they are. What's his name?
No, yeah,
Mm,
Nicholas Christopher and Jonathan Christopher.
I'm just gonna double check here.
They have the same last name. They have to be.
Yeah, the Christopher brothers.
Cause
Um,
I knew it. I'm
yeah,
so smart.
they were. I mean, they were both great. Nicholas was Sweeney, right?
Nicholas was Sweeney and Jonathan.
Jonathan was like a
He
featured
was
ensemble member.
the bird seller in Greenfinch and Linnet Bird.
Yeah, he was the bird seller. He was. I mean, every ensemble scene you could pick him out because dude was like 7 feet tall. But everybody in the cast did an amazing job. I love an ensemble that knows how to be leads because I don't love shows that's all about one or two people. I love a show that it's more about the ensemble.
Mm,
Because I mean, I know how it feels to be the leading and a guy, and I know how it feels to be the ensemble guy. And I feel like a show that can really give everybody their due is awesome. Um, Newsies is like that. Sweeney Todd is like that. Les Mis is like that, where you can't have the show without the ensemble. It's not just about the main character. Even though it's called Sweeney Todd, I mean, he wouldn't be who he was if it wasn't for the world around him acting like the way it is. Uh, but yeah, he did an amazing job. The guy who played crud, what's the little boy's name?
Tobias.
Tobias. The Tobias we saw was very. I mean, the whole cast. Again, I don't think there was anything I did not like. Uh,
I found the Pirelli to be very amusing.
Pirelli. Which one was Pirelli?
The other barber.
Oh, he was okay. He was very good. He was very funny, like amazing voice. When he switched to he was supposed to be Irish, right?
Yeah, he was supposed to be like Irish or Scottish or something like
When
that.
he switched from the Italian accent to that, I legitimately could not tell what kind of accent he was going for, because he switched between like Texan to Irish to Scottish, and I was a little confused. Then he said like I'm just an Irishman. I was like, oh, he's Irish. I don't know. Maybe that's just me being bad at reading uh, accents, but that was my one gripe. So, but no, the show was awesome. The ensemble was very dramatic. They were just electric the whole show, and when things started turning for the worse, you really felt it, and the way that they could make you feel sympathy for a guy like Sweeney Todd shows the credit of everybody involved. The pit was really on fire. They really killed it that night. The string section was just like, I don't know. They were like if murder was a sound, and it was awesome. But yeah, The Outsiders, we got so lucky to get that experience because everybody is like when I tell people that we saw it front row, they're like, "Oh my gosh, how did you do that? How much did you pay?" And I think we paid like what, $40 in all.
It was $30 per ticket.
Okay, so we paid $60, and you got me a pin set and you got a bracelet.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we got the merch, we got the playbill with the signatures, we got the experience. So
we got the turf.
we got
I have
bragging
a little piece of
rights.
turf in my room.
We got bragging rights for eternity for that one.
Yeah,
Like
for seeing the original Broadway cast, seeing it before the Tonys, seeing it front row.
that's like the equivalent of watching Rent before it got big.
Yeah.
I love Rent so much. I miss doing it.
If if you could see any show on Broadway right now, which one would it be? Excluding, the ones that we've seen.
Does it have to be one that's on Broadway right now? Um, a show that I don't know what's on Broadway right now.
There's a lot.
I don't.
I know my answer.
Hold on. I gotta. What's on Broadway
Ding dong. My
right
answer
now?
is Cabaret at the Kit Kat Club.
I know you won't stop talking about Eddie Redmayne.
No, because the production, I love Cabaret.
All right, let's see here. What's on Broadway? Hamilton.
There's Stuffs.
My phone is bugging out.
There's The Notebook.
Hamilton, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child,
That's a play, not a musical.
Illinois, Moulin
That's an
Rouge,
entire dance thing.
uh,
Illinois looks
Hex
interesting.
Kitchen. That one I've actually heard is very good.
Hell's Kitchen.
The Heart of Rock and
Sorry.
Roll,
You're trying to
Cabaret,
censor it. I said it anyways.
Patriots, and Juliet. And Juliet looks kind of, I don't know. It does not look very good. I'm not gonna lie.
It's a jukebox musical.
I'm not a
It gets good
I'm not
reviews.
a huge fan of jukebox musicals. I'm not gonna lie. It feels like maybe this is a really uneducated thing to say, but it feels very much like a cash grab. Um,
I can see where you're coming from.
Aladdin, I would very much like to see. Uh,
I will take you there one day, I promise.
The Great Gatsby, I'd be interested in watching. Hades Town, I've still never seen it. Everybody's always jumping for joy about it. Let's
I'll
see.
take you, I promise.
The Notebook actually seems very interesting because there's three women playing one character, and I really am interested to see how they do that. The Water
The
Elephant, I've heard,
music
is
is
very
really good.
good.
Yeah, Water for Elephant. That one's really good.
What I would want to bring back to Broadway, I mean, I want Rent to come back any day of the week. Tick,
What about Tick Tick
I
Boom?
was gonna say Tick Tick Boom has got to come back. I don't know why they didn't come back like immediately after the Netflix special. I guess because people were gonna watch it, but I don't know. I think it should come back. Put Andrew Garfield on Broadway. I think everybody will absolutely buy
Everyone
it.
will be there.
Yeah, he did a great job in the role in the movie. I think.
Unpopular opinion, I would bring back Groundhog Day the musical in an instant.
I don't know that. Oh, I would also want to bring back Tuck Everlasting.
I would want to bring back Groundhog Day the musical because that one is really good. I would give Ernest Shackleton another chance because I really love that production.
People hated that show.
I liked it.
I liked it. I listened to a few tracks from it when
I
it.
enjoyed it. I saw it on Broadway. I met the two-person cast,
Yeah,
and I was wearing an anime t-shirt when meeting them, and that's shameful.
I
There
went.
there are pictures of me with the cast, the two people, and
Yes,
I'm
two people.
wearing this terrible anime print t-shirt that I thought was so stylish to wear. I'll never live it down.
These limited cast musicals tend to not do very good. I think just because because when you think Broadway, you think big, you think extravagant, and when it's like, because Tick Tick Boom also is like that, where it's only three people,
Hmm.
um, and
I would definitely try and bring, because Phantom of the Opera, as much as I love it, is now no longer on Broadway. It's been gone for a while. I would try and revamp the love of Phantom of the Opera with Love Never Dies, which is the sequel to Phantom of the Opera.
I want Les Mis to come back. But the thing is,
Les Mis is really good.
people only do Les Mis as like concerts now. They don't do the full show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Like the music is what's most iconic, and if you, in my opinion, the show is an opera more than it is a musical. I
Hmm.
not just because it's through composed, but because like if you watch opera and you watch Les Mis, plus Les Mis was originally in French. Not that it being in a foreign language makes it more of an opera, but I'm just saying like if you watch operas and then you watch Les Mis, like there's no reason why it shouldn't fit in that category at least.
Hmm.
It's so good. I actually bought the book for Les Mis at Barnes and Noble. I got like the special leather bound, and probably not going to read it anytime soon because it's like 1,000 pages, and the pages are really thin, and the text is really small. So it's like a huge, huge book. I actually found out it originally was a three-volume book. That's how
Oh,
big it
wow.
was. It was originally sold in three volumes because of how huge it was. But
Hmm.
yeah, I got the big chunky one. The Kite Runner on Broadway, I also would have liked to see. I've heard it actually wasn't that good though.
I heard it was really good. I heard the opposite.
I heard from my one of my professors who actually went to go see it. He saw it but didn't read the book or watch the movie, and he said that it wasn't very good because the character who plays Amir just kind of narrated the whole thing. And I was like,
Hmm.
okay, maybe I don't know, maybe there's a slime tutorial out there to observe it. I'm surprised they haven't made like a Stephen King musical, have they?
No, they haven't. But, another unpopular opinion, Dear Evan Hansen on Broadway was not good.
Oh my gosh, I loved Dear Evan Hansen. How dare you?
The music was good, but I saw it in person. I was front row center, and it just wasn't the same.
What are you talking
Maybe it's
about?
be okay, maybe it was because I went in the time where everyone was like a fan of it and it was like really, really big and it was kind of overwhelming when you tried to stage door. Because I do have a signed playbill. Um,
By Benjamin Platt?
no, it was not Benjamin Platt. It was by another guy that got really popular, but then there was controversy about him and then he got canceled.
Hmm.
So I have a canceled guy's signature. Um, I also have a Be More Chill one that is signed by George Salazar, so that's like, woo, I win. Um,
I have to cough. Okay.
but when I saw Dear Evan Hansen on Broadway, I mean, I love the music. I still love the music. Part of me, I guess, is thinking like it was heavily tainted by the fandom of it because,
Gosh, the
at one point
fandom's
it was
awful.
Heather's Be More Chill and, Dear Evan Hansen was like the
I
big
I
musical
know, and
trio.
that was and like it was coming off the coattails of Hamilton as well, and that was just
Hmm.
we were in high school at the time, and that was such an awful quartet to be around because the Hamilton people were all these nerds who all of a sudden thought that they liked rap music, and then the Heathers people were like these people who thought being mean and sassy was a quirky personality trait. And then the Dear Evan Hansen people were just depressing, and the Be More Chill people were just some combination of those types of personalities. I still love listening to the Dear Evan Hansen soundtrack. I love every song. I know the words to every song. Sometimes I relive my sophomore. I was not to sound like a hipster, but like I liked Dear Evan Hansen like before it was cool. I remember hearing on the radio back when Dear Evan Hansen hasn't even made it to like the Broadway. What do they call it? Like the trials or something? The
Pre-shows.
pre-shows before it even made it there on the radio. They were like, "There's this upcoming show. It's making the rounds. It's kind of small. It's called Dear Evan." I remember the guy said Dear Evan Hansen, like with a D, and
Mm.
he's like, "There's a song called Waving in a Window." And they played a little snippet of it. I was like, "Oh, that sounds awesome!" And I wanted to sing it for our high school cabaret night.
Hmm.
But at that time, I couldn't find sheet music for it anywhere because nobody had done it yet, and there was only one video performance of it. It was him. It was Ben Platt singing it at like some little award ceremony. I shouldn't call it little. I don't know how little it is. I think it was called like the Woody Awards or something. Um, but that was like the first online video of him singing "Waving Through a Window," and I was like, "This is the best song I've ever heard." I remember, and I'm still mad about this. I was showing it to all the seniors at school, and I was like, "Guys, there's this new musical that's coming out. It's gonna change the world. It's gonna be amazing." And I was showing them Waving Through a Window like this song is so bad. Why are you listening to it? It's so dumb. Oh my gosh. And then the moment that the cast album actually dropped on iTunes, everyone's listening to it. Suddenly it's the best thing since sliced bread. Nobody's ever heard a better musical in their life. And they're like, "Omar, you didn't even know this musical existed." I was like, "I showed it to all of you." And you know what? I'm not going to live that down.
I was in my own little world when I got into Be More Chill. I was in middle school. I got into the musical, and fun fact, originated in our home state before it got to Broadway.
It did. They make a joke about that with the play directors like, "You think I wanted to be a play director in New Jersey?" And it's like, "Oh, New Jersey."
Oh, New Jersey, it sucks. It sucks to be here.
New Jersey's epic.
No, but I remember when I got into it, it became my entire personality. I mean, Michael in the bathroom.
Oh man. Michael in the bathroom.
I
Yeah.
used to, in middle school, I used to actively dress as much as I could like the character Michael Mells, simply because I just wanted to give off that vibe. Fun fact, I would leave school in this giant Attack on Titan hoodie that had these patches all haphazardly sewn onto them. I'd have these big chunky headphones with a wire connected to my little iPhone 5, and I'd wear fake glasses, and I would walk down to the corner, and I would get a like Slurpee at the corner store,
Oh,
because the whole
shut
big
up.
thing,
You did not
I was
do
a
that. You did not do that. That is so. Listen. That
I was cringe, but
that
I was
is
free.
cringe beyond belief. Wow.
I was cringe, but I was free.
Jeremy, my buddy, has a hanging lunch, is banging, got my sushi,
Oh my
got my
gosh.
slushy, and more.
Even better, I consistently tried to listen to Bob Marley all the time because Michael was like,
Oh,
I listen to Bob Marley.
stop it. Oh my
Oh, it was
gosh.
bad. Oh, it was bad.
That's really bad. That's really, really bad. I don't
I
think I
was, I
ever
was,
had a cringe musical moment
I,
like
oh, I
that.
was the epitome of cringe.
Honestly, I felt kind of bad in high school because I loved to be honest, I didn't even know how good Broadway musicals were until our choir directors sang the song Dear Theodosia from Hamilton.
Oh,
And I remember being like, "Wow, this is what musicals sound like. This is
it makes me
awesome."
cry.
It's a
That song
really
makes me cry.
it's a good song. But then I first became a Hamilton nerd. That was like step 1 for me into Broadway musicals. But the
Hmm.
biggest ick for me with the Broadway musical world is that it's expected that you know every musical, you know the soundtrack to every musical, you know the original cast by name, you can tap the choreography to every Jason Robert Brown, what's his name?
Who are we talking
The
about?
composer Jason Robert Brown. Jason Robert Brown. What's his name?
For who?
Jason Robert
Lin-Manuel
Brown.
Miranda? Or
No, Jason Robert Brown is a composer, and he has a very tall face. This is what he looks like.
oh. I hate to break it to you, but I was one of those Broadway elitists when I was younger.
I know you were.
Uh,
Because you'd ask me, like, have you heard the original Rocky Horror cast originally debuting in 1996 at the Hibbity Hobbity Theater in Arkansas? And I'm like, no. And you're like,
okay,
oh, you haven't
I w-
heard that?
okay, I only was that way about one Rocky Horror picture show production, and that was a 2012 production.
Yeah, Rocky
It
Horror.
was a
Oh my
professional
gosh.
pro shot.
You know how I feel about Rocky Horror.
I know, and I feel the opposite.
I I'll say this. If I'm just watching the show, whether it be live or the movie, and I'm just enjoying it for what it is, it's a good show. I'd say between a 7.6 and an 8 out of 10. It's a good show. I would watch it like around every Halloween, right? I went to go see a shadow cast of it, and that's where things went downhill. Granted, the shadow cast that I saw is was by a company that will not be named. But let's just say they were small and they were local, and they were very young. The whole appeal was if you were new to it, you got labeled as like a first timer. They would put like a little X on your hand, and then they would like, given that, they would pick you out of the audience and involve you with the different hijinks. In this case, if you were labeled as a first timer, you only got picked out if you were in the dead center front row. Like they did not try to go any deeper. They also tried to give goodie bags of like little props so you can be involved in the scenes at times. Like the famous one is it rains at one part, so everybody pulls out a little newspaper to cover their head. And the problem is they only had like 17 goodie bags for an anticipated audience of close to 200. So, I didn't get one. And on top of that, these actors were just not good. Like they were so over the top. And there was like a southern theme for some reason. Like people were wearing cowboy hats and tassel jackets. It was not very good. What really turned me off from Rocky Horror, the one thing that just makes me never want to go see a live production is the culture of shouting things from the audience and
Mm.
having like a whole script memorized when you go to a performance. I can't do that. It makes me angry.
Uh, I love that. I'm sorry, I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. I saw a shadow cast, and this is a shadow cast that is not the shadow cast that Omar mentioned. This was a different one. This was all the way in like South Jersey, and the shadow cast that I saw was spectacular. Personally, I had a very good experience. They had goodie bags as well. Everyone got a goodie bag. Everyone got props. Like in one scene, Dr. Frankenfurter snaps their glove and everything, and everyone got a latex glove to snap in that scene, and it was kind of funny. There was also like everyone got rolls of toilet paper, and we would throw the toilet paper across the room as hard as we could, so it would try and either hit someone or cascade all the way across the room. And I don't know. I had a very good experience. I loved all the calling out. I thought it was just really, really fun, and it just made the experience more chaotic and more of a community feeling. And even before the shadow cast in the movie started, there was all these like hijinks and shenanigans. There was a mummy contest where you and
Yeah.
a friend would, race to try and wrap someone in toilet paper. It was fun. I enjoyed it, and I'm gonna try and take Omar to one
Oh my
because
gosh, please no.
he deserves a good experience of Rocky Horror.
But like that's like when we went to go see the off-Broadway Hercules, and because it's a Disney show, of course people want to sing along with the songs. They need to get first of all for shows like that where the songs are really popular, they need to just give a notice before the show. Do not sing along with the music.
Well, that should just be theater
It
etiquette.
should be, but that has gone out the window. People don't even have concert etiquette anymore. Where like during a soft song, you stay quiet. I've seen that
Yeah,
stupid
that bothers
video
me.
at a Mitski concert. I don't even know who Mitski is, but apparently she makes like
Oh, I
more
love Mitski.
apparently she makes like more acoustic type music, And
Acoustic and emotional music, yeah.
there was a video on TikTok of her, the whole stadium was in awe listening to this ballad, and you just hear, "It's giving mother." And then everybody in the audience just turned and screamed at that person. But we were watching Hercules, right? And of course, Zero to Hero plays, one of everyone's favorite song. And these muses were top notch, amazing singers. And they were honestly who I was most excited to see. Because I love the muses in Hercules. They get the best voices in the whole show. And of course, when they start, who starts singing but these two middle-aged women next to me? Bless my soul, Herc was on a roll, person of the week in every Greek opinion. I turned to them and I was like, please stop. Please stop. Because number one, it was my birthday. And number two, we paid to see the show, not you. So you want to sing, in the parking lot? Go right ahead. I literally turned to the woman. I tapped her on the elbow. I said, hey, please stop. I'm trying to listen. And she got very upset with me. But you know what? I don't care. And that's the sentiment we're going to be leaving today's show with. So we made our grand return. We are destined for our Netflix debut. Stay tuned for that. Um, we're gonna,
Remember theater etiquette?
yeah, guys. If you go to see a show, somebody's singing next to you, just slap him in the face as hard as you can.
Or punch them
Yeah.
really, really hard. Or start like, rocking back and forth in your seat and start shaking the entire row.
People have actually done that to us. They start dancing so intensely in their seat that it starts shaking the row. Anyway, don't slap them for legal reasons. We actually have to say that, which is so dumb. But anyway, have fun, everybody. Good night. Bye bye. See
Drink
you.
water.
Yeah, drink that. That is what we say. That's my catchphrase. Drink water.
Yeah, drink water.
All right. Bye bye.